Welcome to Buzz Talk Business Show. Each episode, we bring you news and interviews with local businesses, discuss business tips and advice on how to get started or the best out of your business. Welcome to Buzz Talk Business Show.
Hello everyone, we are back at the Login Lounge in Camberley. It's been a few weeks for me.
It's been a few weeks for me as well.
Yeah, because we had Keith Blackshire here today. He was on with us about a month ago.
I think it was, yeah, about a month. Yeah, about a month.
Been that long, is it?
I think it's roughly about that. It's something like that. It's been about that long for me actually, so I'm a bit nervous again. I always get those nerves come in.
Little butterflies.
Yeah. So Keith is from Chrysalis Partners, like a business coach, and
business coach, consultant. Yeah, working with smaller businesses, SME businesses.
And you came in with some top tips before and explained a bit more about what your company does, and we could have delved into it so much more, but the podcast would have gone for quite a lot longer.
Probably, absolutely.
So we're going to you've brought your book in today.
Yeah, so I've got something I call 26 Most Common Marketing Mistakes, which is something I do give out to my clients and prospective clients. What I thought would be quite useful, I mean, obviously we haven't got, again, there's 26, we probably won't go through them all today, but I thought it was worth going through a few in a bit more detail, and we can talk about some tips and hints for small businesses.
And I'm just going to add, we've got an amazing business card here. It's so shiny. I like that business card. I'm going to keep that. Thank you.
It's the fanciest one I've ever seen.
Is it really?
Really good, yeah.
I'm glad you like it.
It's given me some inspiration for the business that me and my husband have. I'm going to show this to him and say to him, I think we should use that as a logo idea for...
I'll have a go, yeah. I mean, I'll try and remember where that was printed from. I'll let you know, and you guys can have a chat with them. Yeah, absolutely. Cool, okay.
So I'm going to run through a few of these 26 tips.
I don't know how far we'll get, guys, but I thought it might be useful. I mean, I think for me, one of them, and I think I touched on this last time, probably the most important one to start with is your target market and who you're marketing to. You cannot market to everyone, especially when you're a small business. You've got a finite amount of funds, so you've really got to work on demographics, psychographics of the sort of people you actually want to do. I mean, if you're trading already and you have clients, how did you get them?
Yeah.
How did you find them? How did you get to them? What sort of messaging did you use? And what you do to replicate to do that. If you're a brand new startup, you've got to really think about your product or your service, who you're going after. I mean, perfect example, someone marketing to me versus my 18-year-old daughter would be very different messaging, very different media.
Yeah.
Probably on TikTok versus something else, So it's really delving...
I still can't get my head around TikTok. I know you're on it, Jack, and I've been told you've got to get on there. It helps with businesses. I'm like, there's so many platforms now.
There's a lot of businesses advertising on there now. I mean, I think we've come away from all the dancing during COVID. I mean, that was I'm just not dancing on there, to be honest with you. But there are lots of different platforms. And again, I think you've really got to spend some time thinking about, but also what your perfect client looks like. So what sort of person or business are you looking to attract? And again, I talk about psychographics and demographics, what age, income, marital status. The more information you can have, the more you can craft the messaging to these people. And when they see it, they go, oh, they're speaking to me.
So if we do an example business, for example, my husband and I run a painting and decorating company, mostly aimed at spray painting kitchen units. People don't always necessarily want to have to buy a new kitchen, but they'd like to upscale what they've already got. What, just as an example, what would be one of the...
I'll probably ask you, obviously, you're a trading business. So what sort of clients have you worked with in the past? I mean, from what you've just told me, is it more... I suppose, actually, from what you've just said, it's homeowners, but is it probably... people that, it's not really the really affluent ones, because they might go, no, I'm going to buy a new kitchen. Yeah. Whereas it's people on a bit of a budget, maybe.
You'd be surprised, actually. It's sometimes those with it don't want to spend it.
That is very true. That's why they have it.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think it's a bit of a mix. We've, for example, we've had a couple of customers lately who have said in about 5 years or so they are planning on knocking down their kitchen, but for now it just needs something, and they may decide to keep it a bit longer. Can we just give it a new lease of life because it's 20 years old?
And is it the painting, or is it the fronts of the units you do as well?
Yeah, so we'll say we've priced up a job and it's going ahead. We will take, the first thing we do is we go to the property and we will take off all the fronts of the doors and the drawers. We take them to our spray booth, we mark them up, and we spray them. Obviously we sand them down, we fill them if they need any fillering done, and sand them. They have their primer undercoat, and then the colour choice.
So proper new lease of life for the kitchen.
Yeah, complete. And then a lot of them will say, right, I'm getting rid of the old handles and doorknobs, I'm going to get new ones, we'll put them on for them. And depending on the type of, if they've got a wooden worktop, we can say, would you like us to sand that down, revarnish it? So yeah, like a proper.
So I suppose from that then you'd probably want to think about, right, I mean, obviously everyone has nightmare clients, right? So you've probably had the ones that have gone, well, you have to come back 10 times because the snagging list is so long, even if it wasn't a problem. So they're the sort of people, I mean, you can't always tell people like that.
No, exactly.
But you probably get an inkling sometimes. So you probably want to avoid those sort of people. And then you want to kind of try and find out, obviously people that can afford your service as well. So they've got to have some money, some money set aside for this sort of thing. There may be a location because of your geography, where you're based. It may be a case that you don't want to travel to.
Oh yeah, we say like within so many mile radius of where we're based. I mean, with the snagging, we do a snag check ourselves at the end, and then we go round with the customer. And we do have a thing where we give them like a 2-week grace period. If there's something within that period, they can't,
Yeah, I mean, you can't warrant it for years because
because things are going to, in 5 years' time, you probably need to redecorate certain things anyway.
so that's probably where I'd start then, you see. So you'd look, right, this is the geography I'm looking for. What are the type of people in that area? So is it maybe a detached house? Is that what you're looking for? Or it could be any kitchen. It could be flats, could be anything. So I suppose it's just narrowing down the sort of people.
Yeah.
Narrowing down where you've worked with people in the past. This type of person has taken 6 months to decide. That's not we can't build a business on that. These sort of people, actually, you normally give them something, they give you a quick decision like that. So they're the sort of people you're looking for. And a lot of people say to me, it's quite hard narrowing it down. But the more of that you can do, the more likely when you do put messaging together, headlines, taglines, and again, this actually takes me on to my next one, which is differentiation, what do you say about you and your service that is different to other people in the area or not even in the area or different people? Because, and again, I think we talked about this last time, you go into Yellow Pages, plumber, A1 Plumbing probably gets everything right because it's the first one people get to.
Yeah.
There's no description of differences, whereas with your business, if you could say, well, we always turn up on time.
Yeah.
We will leave your kitchen like it was our kitchen.
One of the biggest things we've had people say is the communication, because a lot of decorators and builders, they're working themselves. They don't have someone else at home doing the admin, doing the calls.
Absolutely.
My husband is very fortunate; he has me for that.
Well, there you go.
So that's one of the things they've said. A lot of the time, customers will go, "Do you know one of the reasons I went for you? Your communication."
I think that's really important.
Yeah,
it is. And again, that's the sort of thing you should make a big deal of when you're marketing to people. Is the fact that while our people are out doing the work, there's someone there that you can talk to, you can get quotes from, you can make changes. Because, if your husband's sitting there working paint all day, he's not on his phone all day talking to clients.
No, he can't. He does not have the time. Exactly. Like I go out and I do the before and after pictures on certain jobs because he's cracking on. Some decorators will do all that, but he just can't. But having someone like you to do this for people, for us, we've been running for over 5-6 years now, so we've kind of got an understanding a bit more. But if we had someone at the beginning or even at a certain point where we were like, too much, just want to quit, it would have really been helpful to have someone go, okay, well, what are you looking at? What do you need?
Well, that's why I always start with that. For any client, I start and find out what they're doing now. I think we talked about before that Q52 about finding out where they are. But you've got to figure out who you're trying to sell to, and you've got to figure out why you.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Even if you haven't got, you think, well, I don't know what's different about me. Write some ideas down. Think about it. Look at your competitors and think.
I should have my notebook right now. I really should.
Well, you've got this as a reference. This podcast.
Yes, I'll just watch the podcast, of course.
I'll send you a copy of this as well.
Yeah,
exactly. So you've got that.
Thank you.
No problem. But this is the point. If you can actually think, what are my competitors doing? What are they saying? What can I say that's different to them? I mean, it's almost thinking about the objections as well. So when you speak to a client, what are they going to say that all the things that are, too expensive, how do I know I can trust you, all these kind of things.
Yeah.
Think about them, because that's what marketing is kind of the sale before the sale. It's trying to overcome those objections without being in front of them. If you were talking to them, you go, oh no, we do this, we do that, we do this.
We're showing them, like, we have regular reviews come in, we have regular updates showing our videos and pictures of our work, and so
all your testimonials, you've got to have some testimonials.
Oh yeah, all that we're really on quite sharp. Yeah,
but this is it. So, but you've been doing that for a while, and it's taken you a bit of time to get to that.
Yeah.
People starting out, and as Jack was saying, what would people start out? What sort of information would you need? Think about these things.
Yeah, because other people might be nervous to use them because they haven't got all that built up yet.
Well, exactly. But again, you see, I mean, testimonials is quite tough, but getting your first one, and when you haven't got your business, is obviously you just don't have one, so you have to kind of land your first client and say, look, please do me a favour. If you like what I did, please give me a testimonial. Because like we said last time, it's like Amazon, isn't it? Right? You're not going to buy something that hasn't got reviews. It's like, well, hang on, because 5-star reviews on Amazon. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, let's have
a lot
a
of
look.
people do that. Let's go and do that. Yeah. So I think probably that was the first two in here. Really focus on who you're selling to, how they buy as well. We talk about demographics, psychographics. You know, what tempts them to actually go, all right, I'm going to go with you. You know, what is it? How do they buy things? And that can be really interesting in bigger companies, but it's, you know, you want to try and think about
it's learning what works for you. Like for us, we had a job where we had some professional, although we'd taken pictures ourselves, we had a professional photographer in, and the before and after pictures have actually really helped draw a bigger audience.
That's what I would want. If I was going with a company, I'd go, oh God, and oh wow, you know.
Yeah.
Because you can't always visualise. I'm not one of those people that can, I mean, you get these people that buy properties, don't they? They go in to see a wreck and go, I know what we can do with this. I look at it and think, oh no, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Look at that. But then you see the after and think, God, that's just amazing.
Like,
How
wow.
do they do that? You know, but I haven't quite got that brain to do that. But if you can show someone a before and after, that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
I think that's where me and my husband worked. He's really good at visualising where it can go, whereas sometimes I look at it and I go, really? You really? Oh, wow, well done. You did it.
How did you do that? Yeah, exactly. Well, but that's how it works. But then again, if you can show that to people, they'll go, that's what I want you to do to my place.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the first two.
Oh, just a quick question before we go on to the next bit. Is it worth, as you're starting out and getting your first client in there, is it worth like saying, doing a bit of bartering, saying, I'll do it at a slight discount, so I can still do it, but would you do a nice review afterwards and be honest about it, trying to get that first one in?
We've done that before, especially when we were starting out, like, well, if you're really happy with this, because this is a new line that we're going into now, like we worked out what was our niche, so to speak, like you were saying, and we kind of thought, okay, we're not that keen on this line of work, we want to go to this. So when we started getting that, we said, look, would you mind leaving us a review? Happy to give you like a small discount. Obviously, be honest. Like you just said, we did something like that. And
I'd go a step further with that. That's exactly what you should do. But then say also, if we do a good job, and we gave you a discount on this, would you give us a referral to someone else you know?
Yes. We get quite a lot of free referrals.
That's the thing, though, and that's where most people start. And I think we talked about this. You know, it's like, oh yeah, you know, do a little bit of networking, referrals. That's great. What else are you doing that's a little bit more, I think you said last time, consistency? What can you do to be consistent with getting leads through the door? So,
is word of mouth still a thing?
Word of mouth is brilliant, and it's the best business you can ever get because they already bought into you, because someone they trust has said you're good. They probably won't haggle on price because they've probably had some kind of cost conversation with us already. Yeah. But they're not regular all the time. You don't know when you're going to get them.
Okay.
I mean, we've got a customer at the minute actually who we've said, I'm really sorry, we are quite busy for the next couple of months. She said, I want to wait for you. You've been referred to by friends and I like your reviews. I'd rather wait and get the job done right than rush it with someone I don't know about. And we were like, oh, thank you.
Just tearing up here. Yeah, but that is the best business you can get. I mean, you don't have to work for that so much because you've already done the work with someone else.
Yeah.
But again, you just don't win the company. That's the only thing.
And you've got to build to that, get that reputation, and it's hard work to get to that. But having someone in the beginning to guide you on maybe getting there a bit quicker, because we were probably a bit slow because we were learning ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
We probably could have done with someone like that at the beginning.
People don't think about that at the start. They think, right, I'm really passionate about this. I'm going to go out there. Everyone's going to buy my product. That's what everyone thinks. And it's great having that optimism at starting in the business. But it isn't actually true, unfortunately. You have to kind of temper that and think, right, I need to build a funnel of all the sort of people that are actually probably interested, and then come down to, right, how many sales am I going to make? And actually be quite systematic about it. But
I think it's hard in the beginning as well. You end up underpricing yourself to start with as well, because you want to get that work in, but then you sometimes come away and be like, didn't really make much from that. But at the beginning, it was that build.
And if you get testimonial, you know, everyone does that at the start. I mean, you'll take any business at the start because it's business, right?
That's where we were 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, but you do. I mean, everyone does. I mean, I've taken clients on that I've gone probably not the right fit, but, you know, I'm taking the client on. I'll hopefully get a testimonial out of the back of it. But it's a nice place to be when you can pick and choose, but not everyone gets there quickly. You know, you have to spend some time doing it. I suppose moving on to the next one, actually, is something I call 6 business growth multipliers. So not everyone uses these. So lead generation, obviously, we've talked about getting leads through the door, okay? But conversion rates are really important as well, right? If you have, 10 leads come in and you don't close any of those, and you get another 10 come in, and then, we close 1, it's like 1 out of 20 isn't a really good ratio. So if you can really go... Exactly. So what are you saying? I mean, a lot of people are actually afraid to ask for the order. I know it sounds stupid, but they do all the work. They get a proposal out there, they show it to them, and they go... And they just kind of just wait almost. It's like, well, should we go ahead with this? What are your thoughts? Are there any, anything you're still thinking about that will stop us moving forward? People are a bit worried to get that. Ooh.
I actually do when I follow up on my customers, and if we haven't heard anything, I go, hope you don't mind just following up on the quote we sent. Do you have any thoughts?
Exactly.
Instead of pushing why didn't you go with us? I'm just like, have you got any thoughts? And sometimes I come and go, oh, thank you, but I've actually gone with someone cheaper, or we've decided to leave it till later, or, oh yeah, sorry, I meant to get back to you. I am interested. I've just been really busy.
You have to follow up with them. And one thing I actually say to some people that works really well is a sales conversion letter. So following up like that is fine, or an email. But if you actually send something, it could be a letter or it could be an email, actually with a reminder of the quote, a reminder of all the reasons that people buy from you, maybe a testimonial in there as well, it suddenly makes it fresh in their mind again. It's not just a quote. It's a quote, but it's a reason why people should do business with you, because it's, by the way, we spoke about this, and I know you said you didn't want this, but we do it in this way.
That personal touch about them.
Exactly. It makes them think, these guys really want to do business with them. They really care. And you're reiterating the reasons that you said why you're good to work with, and also maybe a couple of testimonials that other people have said as well. So that will really help your conversion rate as well. You'd be surprised. Something as simple as that will actually help your conversion rate. Asking for the order and maybe following up with like a sales conversion letter, something like that as well. That really works. Transaction value, you just talked about this, underpricing. Make sure you're charging the right price for your product. Now, how do you get the right price for your product? Okay, there's lots of ways of doing it. Be surprised in
different trades how many people go from one price to something beyond what you would imagine. You're like, well, where should we go with that?
Well, some people pay loads of, I mean, you'll be surprised sometimes. You think, hang on, how did that? My quote was, I don't know, say 5K or something like that for the whole kitchen. And then, we actually went with this price, and you find out it was 7 or 8K. But they might have added a couple of extra bits in. So it's kind of value versus price sometimes, isn't it? They might have said, oh, yeah, no, you actually, it's the same price as you guys, but they're going to do these 4 things for me that you weren't adding, you know. So it's looking at the value, you know, it's selling on value, not selling on price, you know. It's always a race to the bottom otherwise. All right, we'll drop another £500 off, you know. You don't want to be in that position. But I've done it myself, and I've done something, and I've gone, oh, you know, client said, oh, I'd have paid a lot more for that. You know, it's quite painful.
I've had that in IT as well. Yeah, they're saying, oh, we paid more. And the trouble is, they say we've got a budget, but they won't tell you what the budget is. No. So it's kind of guessing. And it's kind of, do I earn the price just to get that first one in? And we may bag more later, you know. But it's kind of difficult to think, what is their budget?
Or if you had jobs where, if you had jobs where you go, oh, I actually don't really want this one, I'm going to bump it up a bit. And then they go, we'll go ahead. And you're like,
no.
Oh.
Yeah. I've had that as well, actually, yeah. No, I was going to say, what we used to do in sort of, in tech, in IT back in the day, was do what we called a ROM, which is a rough order of magnitude, just to find out roughly where they were. So it's somewhere between, I mean, obviously the sort of bigger deals, somewhere between 1 and 1.5 million. Okay, all right. So you know, you haven't done all that rigor and actually making sure the solution fits and everything gone through pricing. You've just given them a rough idea, and they've gone, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. At least you know where you're playing then. Yeah. And sometimes that might be, well, we've done a kitchen of your size before, depending what you know, depends what handles you do and what sort of paint you use and whatever. I think it could be something like X, and then you can kind of see if they're serious or not. If they go, oh, okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, or whatever. You know, that's not a bad way of doing it. But it's really thinking about what your product, I mean, again, it's working out how much do I need to earn, you know, how much does the business need to earn on a monthly basis, how many deals have I got coming through, there's 3, right, so we probably need to earn this sort of amount on those. We probably won't close all 3, maybe we'll close 2. So it's just using a bit of logic on that.
We do the same, right? This is our outgoings, as well as paying our, you know, anyone we have working for us. We have to make this minimal to at least clear that and have some money in our back pocket.
Absolutely. So, I mean, once you've got a few coming through the door, you know, and you get your conversion rate up, you can start playing with the values, putting it up, putting it down. But a lot of times, and I think we touched on this last time, being too cheap is really bad as well, because people go, oh, no, you know, don't trust what they're saying, or it's cost of living.
And COVID and all that post has been a difficult thing to make things a bit more. Do we increase it at the minute? Don't we? You know, it has.
But again, a lot of these things you just got to test. You've got to try it and see. Oh, God, I'm losing loads of business. Right, we can't maintain that. Or actually, I'm losing 1 out of 4 or 5, but I'm making more money on the other ones anyway. So you've just got to keep testing and trying.
I have to remind my husband sometimes that we're not going to win all of them.
No.
And he gets a bit, he goes, oh, I'm surprised he didn't go ahead. And he does a little bit. Well, he does. And I'm like, babe, we're not going to get, we're not going to get everyone.
I suppose, mate, you could probably look at it like in IT, there's obviously lots of projects goes on anyway, and you kind of maybe go in and say, well, if I do it at this price so you can see what we're like, would you kind of give us some sort of guarantee or something, say we could get the next job up?
We've done something like that.
Does it work?
If we've had a depending on the job, and they've got lots of things they want doing, but they're quite nervous. We've had a couple of people who have been really messed over by other contractors, and we said, look, we can sense you're a bit nervous about this. How about we just do this room? You see what you think of it. If you like it, then we can book the rest in. And they're like, oh, do you know what? That's a good idea. Yeah, can we do that? Because they've been, you know, in the trade, there are a lot of people who aren't as good as they make out. And so we've done things like that before.
Exactly, they appreciate the offer. I mean, I do that. I work on a retained basis, and I've worked with startups before that go, look, I really want to work with you, but I can't afford that figure right now.
Yeah.
So I go, okay, well, look, let's start on this. We'll do it for 3 months. Let's see how we get on. And then we'll review it after 3 months and see where we go there. So there's definitely ways around it. You just want to make sure you're not underpricing yourself.
Yeah.
Because everyone will take your services free of charge as long as you give them to them, So
I think we could do another podcast actually talking on like how would you rate your hourly rates? If you're pricing a product, what percentage you put on top, saying that can go back into business, keep us going forward. We can probably do a whole podcast on that anyway.
Yeah, we can talk about that, absolutely. So linked to transaction is profit margin, obviously. So again, this is working out what you said. Is it a case of, are there things we can do to control costs? Because there is a cost of living crisis. Can we reduce our costs a little bit and then therefore make them up? Or do we have to up our transaction values a little bit?
Because although cost of living, materials have gone up in price massively.
Exactly. So, this is it. That's the whole problem, isn't it? Everything's quite expensive at the moment. But I've worked with businesses that go, I know, but I haven't put the price up for 2 years. You've got to. Everyone else is. You've got to put it up. Otherwise, all that's happening is your profit margin's getting squeezed. You're doing more for less. Probably tearing your hair out, trying to run around, do more work.
Yeah,
it's just not paying you like it used to. So,
and like doing your research, looking on platforms, and finding out what the average person is charging nowadays, and we do that regularly as well.
Get indicative quotes from other people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just go to competitors, get indicative quotes.
There's another podcast we can get out of this actually talking about when you was transitioning, maybe thinking about being VAT, because obviously then adding VAT on it kind of bumps the price, especially if it's a home kind of person you're going towards, not a business, where they can kind of get that back.
Yeah.
So we can kind of talk about that, how we can transition from a sole trader that's not doing VAT, because obviously you buy lots of services and products and stuff that you could claim that back. But then it's like you said, when you said to me, well, that's going to bump 20% up on the invoice.
And we're like, well, if we hit over that, but our expenses are when we look at the final, what came in and what went out, it's like, we can't go over that threshold just yet.
Yeah, no. We can talk about it on another podcast. I think it's a great one to sort of tackle on
absolutely.
as well.
The other two on that 6th step are increasing number of purchases per year, which is probably more difficult for yourselves because most people go, right, we want our kitchen done, that's done. And then, but I mean, for businesses, if you can try and get someone who's buying for you once a month, twice a month.
Because it depends on what type of job it is, doesn't it? What company,
Exactly. And then also, attached to that is getting them to buy for longer as well, so increase the buying lifetime. Because if you're marketing to someone up front and it costs you, I don't know, £500 to get that lead as a customer, and they spend £500 profit, you're net even, you're fine. But if they're going to come back in 2 months' time and spend another 500, and then another 500, then it's worth doing.
It's a risk, but because we've been on platforms before. Can I name names or not?
No, go for it.
Okay, so My Builder, for example, you pay per the lead, whereas Checkatrade, you pay a set fee, and they can't guarantee you how many inquiries, but they have a rough idea how many are going to come in, for example. And the same with some other platforms, but with My Builder, you literally go and bid and pay to go view a property.
Right.
Whereas it really irritates me because we could have someone click 3 builders, I'll have them see us. And we've had it before where they go, I know I clicked you, but it's not going to be for another 6 months till I need it. And I have to go, you do realise that's cost us £50 for you to do that. I don't like, we came off of that. I don't like that type of platform.
You can't guarantee the quality of leads as well. I mean,
no,
I
exactly.
pay for leads and everything, right? But I want qualified leads. For you, like you said, it could just go, well, I've always thought about getting a kitchen. I wonder how much it costs. I've got no intention of doing it, but let me just press a button and just see what it might cost me, and then you never get anything out of it. So
no, we don't do that one. We've obviously got our reviews on Google, and we're on Facebook and Instagram and that, and we're getting like people that contact us, and we still get leads through Checkatrade and that, but even though we've only got an affiliate page now instead of the other one because they changed their algorithm and it was a headache. But because of where we've got to, we don't at the moment need to invest in something else on that side of it, the pay for lead things and stuff like that. Sure. But yeah,
I mean, again, there's lots of different ways. I mean, obviously, slightly coming off it, but I mean, I always say to clients, utilise as many that are sensible at once, as long as they're automated, right? So, like, I'll have like email automation, I'll do some outreach on LinkedIn, I'll have people cold calling for me, I'm doing some Facebook advertising, making sure the website's it's got call to actions, that kind of thing.
Yes.
You've got to have a number of things. People go, I've got a website. I'll get business. No, you don't. You're not driving people to it. And as you were saying, Jack, about SEO and stuff, if you haven't got the right work keywords in there, people are never going to find you. So
I got Jack to help us with that because I was a bit clueless.
I'm not great at SEO, right? I would use another person to help with SEO because, it's almost like a full-time job, isn't it? Because new keywords come out, new searches, so you have to quickly change it and everything.
Yeah.
But
and at least it shows you what the popular key searches are.
Absolutely.
So at least you know, okay, this keep that at the top, this keep that as a main
But that's a
keyword.
full-time job. That's why I get someone else looking at my website for me because, that is a full-time job on its own, making sure your SEO is correct. So that was that one. This one is a real key one, I think, for me. Launching into sales marketing without any kind of preparation. Just putting things out there, like, I've got a brochure, all about things I do, and send it out there without a sales letter, without a call to action, without testimonials, without anything on there, without thinking about what headlines are likely to talk to your target market. So again, a lot of people just go, right, I'm going to do sales and marketing without thinking about the target market and your differentiator and crafting headlines that actually will hook people in to do it. So people just start. They're just going to, right, which is, they don't know any better. That's fine. They just go, right, I want to get my name out there. But they're not thinking about all these things. That's why I always advocate, think about who you want to sell to and think about what's different about you.
Because they might come back and go, nothing's happening. It's like, well, did you do this? Did you do that?
Well, that's right. I mean, it's just like cold calling loads of people without thinking about what you're going to say. You're just like, hi, I've launched a kitchen company. Brilliant. Now what? You've got to think about some of these things. And again, I don't advocate script selling, but, for people that are starting, they're doing phone calls, get a few notes down about why, it doesn't have, you'd have to read it because you sound like a script seller then and no one wants that. But just a few points about...
Some prompts.
Yeah, exactly that. My memory's awful, so I have to write everything down. I mean, especially my phone. I don't know wouldn't know what I was doing every day of the week if I didn't write it down. But you've got to have something just to aid you, but you've got to have put that work in first before you start doing it. I mean, it's like doing a marketing campaign without any of that thought first. You're just literally spending money, especially on Google or Facebook or something. You just get loads and loads, loads of impressions, and no one's going to buy anything because it's just people have looked at it and gone, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So you've really got to make sure if you're going to spend money on sales and marketing, you've thought about what you're doing first, which is really important. Just thinking about time, actually, Jack. How are we doing for time?
Oh, good. 26 minutes.
Okay, cool. This is one I just mentioned, actually. Only using a small number of marketing tools. So, people say, networking, word of mouth. Great.
Yeah.
What are you doing to actually... that's kind of pull marketing, right? So what are you actually doing to push something out there? Are you doing any kind of lead generation letters? Are you doing anything, are you calling people? Are you going to network? I mean, it's just really people just going, right, I set up my business now, people are going to come to me. It just doesn't happen.
They have to think about their type of business, what type of the marketing would work for that business, because not one thing will work for another.
That's right. But you've got to test. A lot of marketing's about testing, right? For example, you could send a lead generation letter out and get absolutely no responses. You could do the same letter, but just with a slightly changed headline and get loads of responses. So it's all about testing, and that's what I always advocate. There was a story ages ago about some guys that did something for, I think it was a Leicester rugby club dinner they did, and they sent out loads and loads of letters and literally got 1 or 2 responses, spent loads of money, and thought, oh my God, I'm never going to do that again. But then they thought, okay, well, let's try it again. And then they said, right, we'll just send 1,000 with this headline, 1,000 with this headline, 1,000 with this headline. First one was awful again. Second one, really good response. Third one, nothing. So the other 7,000, they sent out with the second one because they knew they'd get a response, and they actually made some good money. It's all about testing.
Something to catch you, isn't it?
A/B testing, ABC testing in that case. It's just...
giving me lots of ideas, this is right now.
I kind of do the same. I'll send emails out to invite people, then I'll keep changing the wording, maybe put some new links into something
but only
fresh.
Change one thing at a time so you know what's working, what changes. Because a lot of people go, right, I'm going to completely change it. And you go, great, that worked. Well, it worked better, but I don't know what worked. And it could have just been one change.
Just some little tweak. It doesn't have to be a bigger...
Well, that's a good point, because I might look at changing, because obviously when it's an email, the first thing is a subject. Yeah. So I may look at changing that rapidly, see what kind of works.
Definitely change the subject. That's probably the main thing to try, because...
That's the eye-catching bit, isn't it?
That's the bit that gets someone to read the next bit and make sure that bit's catchy, so they'll read the next bit. Because that's the idea. You just want them to read down to the bottom, because that's probably where your call to action, call here, email here, phone me here, that's the bit that's there.
Yeah.
You've got to make it interesting and try and make it a bit of a story as well. It's like, some of these emails are just mind-numbing, and that's why email automation sometimes is quite a long burn, because so many spam emails come out now, but most of them are boring. You want a bit of something interesting there. Yeah. Try and make it story-like. If you can do a bit of an anecdote or a story or something that's interest, but is relevant to what they're trying to do, it's going to be a lot more interesting to read.
Definitely.
Because I get so many, I'm like, oh God. junk. It's just really annoying after all. Yeah. Sales and marketing system kind of alludes back to what we were talking about. Is actually try and systemize some of this. So, can you do email automation? So that's running in the background, and it's almost like trying to create the way a funnel should work for your business. So, so I'm doing a bit of Facebook ads, maybe email marketing. The leads come in, and what they do, they come to the top of the funnel, right? Then what I'll do is I'll follow up with a personal email to them, and then maybe a week later I'll send them something like this, maybe like an ebook or something like that.
Yeah.
And then maybe a couple of weeks later I'll send it. So really try and systemize it, and hopefully after a while, 1,000 people in, and they'll filter down, and then you'll get 20 or 30 that actually go, can we book a call and have a chat? That sounds really interesting. You're really trying to get these people. Again, you're not going to sell to everyone. You've got loads of leads. You're going to whittle down all the way through to probably 10, 15, 20 that are actually potentially interested. And 5 of those might turn into clients. But you've got to have that system to bring them all the way through.
Yeah.
And if you can automate as much of that as possible, you haven't got time. You haven't got time. You're doing the actual running of the business. Your husband's out painting. If you can get all that automated, you're getting leads that are flowing through there.
Yeah.
You might need to remember, right, I need to send these emails out, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. But if you can get that little CRM system, and for people that are watching the day,
I have like a whiteboard at the minute.
A whiteboard, or a lot of people use an Excel spreadsheet. I've got a CRM system that mails me and goes, right, you need to do this today.
Do you know what I did the other day actually? Because I post, I try not to, I don't spam as in putting the same post out on Facebook every week sort of thing. So it'll be something new, like we're doing rendering jobs at the moment, painting out side works. So for example, I've got a list on Excel of all the Facebook community pages and when you can post for businesses and how many times a week or a month. And then I'll tick off each time I've done something each week, or once. That one's only once a month. So I wait till the day, first day of the month, last day of the month. And I'll always try and share something different. So
no, you have to. Yeah, because otherwise, that again, Exactly. It's a bit like when people do direct response advertising in magazines. You'll be amazed at how it goes down after the first viewing, because people run some same adverts like 6 months. The first month is quite high, and then after that, that again, it literally drops off. So you really want to change them quite regularly. But what you were saying, do you use any form of kind of CRM to track any clients you're talking to, or is it Excel? Because it's really helpful to know. I do it myself.
Do you know what? It is something I need to start doing a bit better of checking where they've come from. We do get some things where I check, like with the Google Analytics and that, it will say when certain leads have come, when you've had a contact through Facebook or your website or direct from this way.
But almost where they are in the cycle as well. That's what I was thinking more. So, you've spoken to this one, and then, hang on, I haven't spoken to them for a couple of weeks. Right, we need to get them a quote. Just to track all that information and see where they are in the sales process. Yeah,
I have that on the board, because we have quite a steady flow of, like, once they're booked in and out, then they get wiped off, and then the next one sort of thing. So generally, I'll keep a note, or I'll have it written down in my notebook of who we need to follow up, and then I have something. It needs improving. But I have something in place. Okay. It does need a bit more improving.
A lot of these CRM systems are actually quite cheap these days. There's actually some almost free ones. I think HubSpot's CRM is actually free at the moment. And literally, once you get used to it, it's so easy, because all the people you're working with, whatever stage they're at, are in there. You can see them every day. It can send you alerts of, I need to speak to these people today.
That's a really good idea.
Because everyone does what you're doing, right? They've got it on whiteboard and in notebooks, that kind of thing. But things do get missed that way. And if you've got it all in the system, I know some people, I hate IT, I couldn't trust it.
Yeah.
If it's all there, it will mail you. That day, I've got to do these 5 things. And once I've ticked them off, right, I'm going to call that one in 2 weeks. You put it in your 2 week spot, and when you get to 2 weeks' time.
I'm going to look into that, definitely. I think that'll be a much better way than what I'm doing at the minute.
Once you've spent a couple of hours getting it in there, it will save your life.
I was going to say, anything that saves me time to focus on other things, I'm all for it.
Well, this is it for small businesses. Automate as much as you can. That will really help you, because when a new one comes in, you just got to remember, right, I'm going to quickly put that in CRM, right, forget about it. And then 2 days later it reminds you to do something, and 3 days later it reminds you to do something else, rather than going, right, I had a sticky note. I've done it myself. You've just got to try and get that as automated as possible.
My husband's the worst for just grabbing a random bit of paper and just writing notes down. I'm like, David, put it in your book or something. The random bit of paper is just going to get lost somewhere.
Exactly.
To my old accounts lady used, when I was doing my IT business, she said to me, just go through the bits and just say, what's this invoice for? And I could recall that back. Even if it's like a year later, I could recall it. I don't know how you can do that. I can even recall the project, the timings, everything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
you're probably of very, very small part of the population that can do that, because I can't remember what I did last week, so I have to make sure everything's written down, otherwise I struggle. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, thank you for this. I know there's more we can go through. I think we should maybe make another podcast at some point, because we've
I think we only got up to 6.
This has really helped me as well, so thank you.
No, you're welcome anytime. Well, if you need some help on the CRM, let me know. We'll talk about it. Absolutely.
It's extremely interesting, and it's definitely given me a lot of food for thought, and I hope it has for all you folks out there listening or watching. And we.
Oh. Sorry.
It's okay. See, I feel like I'm at the Oscars. Get on with it. Get on with it.
The hook comes out.
So if you would like to get in touch with Keith, Jack is going to put his website and email address in the description, and we will definitely have you back in for some more.
Look forward to it.
Sorry.
He's off on one today.
That's right.
I've slid the slider out and I kind of like rest my finger in, but push the button. Why am I doing that?
That's right. You can edit that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Well, thank you for joining us, Keith.
No, thank you. Nice to be here again. Thanks, guys.
You can go for it now, Jack. We're all good.
Go.
There we go.
I'm Hayley Sims, and this is my book, Dear Anonymous. SMJ Media have been perfect in promoting my book, and if you would like to follow for more content or help out and support, then you can go to buymeacoffee.com/SMJ Media Group.